microphone is on. So, hello. Welcome to the Home Care Breakout Sessions. I'm Lauren Bruman, the editor of the DCM Group. And so, this is the first of our home care breakouts. As we heard this morning, home care is where it's going to be at in the next 10 years. So no pressure. Our first session today is focused on workforce strategies. As we sort of have heard, the responsibility and risk has never been greater for home care. We're going to have an increasing number of people being supported at home. We've got staff turnover, younger workers coming in, more regulation and increasing acuity. So what does this mean? It means that we will be needing new thinking in our education processes to ensure staff are trained to deliver care and also meet compliance requirements. So I'll introduce you first to our panel. So to my far right, we've got Will Egan. So Will is the second generation CEO of Osmed, a healthcare solutions company which was founded by his mother. And since then, he's joined the business as CEO and taking it to bigger and better things.
Hopefully.
Yeah. We've got Kris Whitehead, the CEO of Home Instead Australia. So Kris is a relative newcomer to the home care space. He comes from a banking and finance background and was sort of inspired to join the home care space after his own experience. But Home Instead, one of the biggest home care providers in Australia with their franchise model. And then we've got Simon Lockyer. So he's the co-founder and CEO of Five Good Friends, and they're well regarded as the first technology-enabled and data-driven home care provider in Australia. So first question, so what training strategies do you have in your own organisation, to ensure that staff are kept up to date and feel supported in their roles? Simon, maybe you want to get us started?
Yeah, so I guess our training strategy and learning and development strategy is very much driven by our model, which is quite unique. So we operate a blended workforce and we combine independent contractors with employed workers as well. And it's really driven by the idea that in terms of experience, the key determinant of a quality home care experience still is consistency of the helper and the worker in the home. So our model is all about matching and finding the right person with the right skills, both soft and hard skills, and then keeping them with that individual, with that member, as we call them, for as long as possible. So we've attracted a different kind of workforce. On average, a helper on the Five Good Friends platform will work around 12 and a half hours a week. They'll have 3 members, as we call them, that they support. And we've used the strategy of micro-credentialing and actually being able to upskill our helpers as the needs of the member that they're matched to change over time. So we're releasing relevant courses, relevant information to keep that relationship together and to be able to progress along with the member and the family that they have the honour of helping.
Mm. And how many micro-credentials would the average member have?
Well, so we've now got 70 courses that we've built on our own learning and development platform, a mixture that we have developed ourselves. We've got a whole learning and development team and some other courses that we use, and we also use some of Will's courses. But on average, a helper will have done 19.8 courses to actually upskill them, and they range from things like support with medication to dementia courses, and actually really, really simple things like just about how to do really great domestic assistance, because a lot of our helpers start with members with very low level and simple services. They're new to the industry. We want to keep them in the industry, and we train them and move them along that continuum of care or support as and when required.
Yeah. Kris, you've also made Home Instead has made a significant investment in training. Can you talk about that?
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, so we take a little bit of a different view, or quite a different view from Five Good Friends, and it's in some ways more traditional. In other ways, we're trying to, I guess, lift the quality of care. So we have established training centres. So we have 3 state-based training centres, one in Sydney, one in Brisbane, and one in Melbourne. And we see about, well, at the moment it's up to about 2,000 of our carers going through those centres each year. And from our perspective, we do a traditional induction program. We have the induction program centred around the home instead way, how we want to have our caregivers look after our clients. And in a similar way to Simon and Five Good Friends, we also have a matching principle, and it's really about building relationships, because we also recognise that the longevity of care and the consistency of caregivers in the homes, particularly for those of our clients who are maybe in the early stages of dementia, it's really important for us to do that. And talking about dementia, we then go the step further in our centres where we run an immersion model, and it is built around the dementia care. So we, for example, will have people come in and we've got full homes set up, or living room, bathroom, kitchen set up in each of our centres, where the caregivers will come in and, for example, put on a pair of glasses which are a little bit foggy, and we get them to put gloves on, rubber gloves on, and try and simulate some of the sensations that our clients are going through. It feels a little bit novel, but it really does immerse you in what our clients are going through and give us a better understanding of how to better care for our clients. And I guess from a personal perspective, I was really fortunate. My first 3 months in home instead, I spent in an office doing everything from our caregiver training and induction and learning the home instead way through to going out and delivering care services to our clients. So after a couple of decades in banking, it was probably the most daunting experience I've faced, going and knocking on the door for the first time of one of our clients, and being very vulnerable, going in and trying to help them. So on the flip side, it was hugely rewarding to be able to help that person and continue to deliver those services.
Yeah. Will, you're coming at it from, I suppose, the education perspective. I mean, what kind of training do you see that people are focused on at the current point in time?
Yeah, I think definitely listening to both examples that Simon and Kris have given is very much in line with many of the nuanced and innovative approaches that we're seeing specifically in the home care space as that's growing and emerging. The 2 things I'd love to touch on, I think, is maybe what you just referred to at the end there, Kris, around the lived experience that you've kind of obviously gotten for yourself before becoming CEO. Anything that involves providing carers with that lived experience really will kind of outperform from a kind of learning perspective than the learned experience. I think COVID's a good example of that. We all had a shared lived experience. So immersive dementia programs, they're good examples of that. But going to Simon's point, I think where we're going is that what a lot of providers are looking at is trying to get to a discrete list or set of competencies or skills or micro-credentials that they deem to be important and performant in providing high-quality care. And I think that's where the opportunity lies. So in your case, you're able to say, well, there's 70 specific micro-credentials that we think someone should have, and then it sounds like you've aligned incentives around that. And we're starting to see more and more models that have those attributes. So it's a good thing in your business models you have the opportunity to design those incentives, but we're starting to see elements being included in EBAs or different gradings of care workers. Other innovative models that came up earlier in, I think, Cam Ansell's talk, where he spoke about the advanced roles of a care worker. So we're seeing roles like an aged care educator, which is effectively a higher grade aged care worker, not a clinical nursing kind of specialist, clinical nurse educator. So I think it's plucking out those critical skills, defining what they mean. It'd be great if we were sharing them as a sector so that we all didn't have to keep reinventing the wheel, but then creating kind of milestone or progression, step-based learning experiences for the worker to self-enroll in and self-promote, self-advance.
I mean, sharing definitely relates to the next question, which is about when new workers join your organisation and they do have previous training. Do you recognise that experience, and how much time do you spend on retraining staff?
I've got the mic, I'll start. So we, as I said before, we have the training centres, and we do bring our people along for the, I guess, through that induction in the home instead way. So, can that be lifted and, taken and utilised by other care providers? And I'm sure it can. The other part we do, well, actually to answer your question, we do roughly 3 days of induction. And then we do annual refreshers, and there's opportunities for our care workers and caregivers to do courses throughout the year. We also run through our training centres a Cert 3, which somewhere between 60 and 70% of our carers are working towards, and that's 1,000 hours for them to work through over the course of up to 3 years that we run it over.
I know Will has prosecuted the case of a passport, something that people who want to work in the aged care industry should have. We're 100% in support of that. If we could get substantiated training, to recognise someone that may have been with Home Instead for a period of time but then coming across to Five Good Friends, we would love to be able to acknowledge that, and if we could be at least building our courses toward this consistent type of assessment or measure, which absolutely gave a stamp that was recognised through the industry, it would be wonderful, because it is a portable industry. People do move around, but unfortunately we're not able to formally recognise that. So we still need to put people through micro-credentialing courses. We need to get the verifications that we have so that they're matched to the requirements or the needs of the people that we're trying to help. But it's a huge opportunity for the industry, and I've read many different papers and ideas to say that we have to all understand that we're going to share workforce to meet the need that is out there in the community, and use technology as well to be able to distribute skill and need across the industry as well.
Yeah, I mean, Will, you've been a big proponent of the passport. Is it feasible that we could see this up and running?
Definitely. I think, we launched something almost to kind of just catalyse kind of talk into action in October 2022. It's just about to clock over 40,000 participants, and I'd say the compliance rate, if you were to use that term, 95% plus have all of their learning current. Now, 40,000 participants would be edging up towards at least 1 in 10 of the workforce, if not moving out into 12-13%. That only represents 8 unique training items, but we're seeing somewhere around 30 or 35 on average being done across the sector at the moment. Some of them could be down to 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes in duration. It's absolutely feasible. In Victoria, the state government made an election promise to try and figure out how to do this, and now the Department of Health down there is trying to work it out as well. And we've been kind of conversing with them, and I think an interesting take that their approach is around the standardising of the outcomes. So instead of having to worry about everyone doing the same modules, or for example, a competency on pressure injury prevention,